So the WBO has actually issued, they ordered Terrence Crawford to defend his WBO title to Shawn Porter next, and the parties will have 30 days to negotiate, or a purse bid will be called in 60-40 split in Crawford's favour. So I think this is an interesting fight. Porter, although he's a two-time world champion, I don't feel like he's seen as the elite of the welterweight division. He is among the elite, but he's not the top welterweights in the sport at this point in time. He's just out of that, so he's probably top 5. But the crazy thing is, Crawford has been looking for a challenge with the PBC welterweights for a very long time. He's been calling out the likes of Keith Thurman, he's been calling out Errol Spence, and he has been calling out Porter. Although he's a top 5 welterweight, everyone he's fought, he's given them an absolute war. When he went into the fight against Errol Spence, he gave him an absolute war. When he went into the fight with Keith Thurman, he gave him an absolute war. He also gave Kell Brook an absolute war as well. So this is a fight that's always going to bring it. Of course, there's been questionable decisions along the way. The Ugas fight, a lot of people think that Shawn Porter lost against Ugas. So, but in my opinion, I think Porter is a fighter that's a very good yardstick to see where you are in terms of beating an elite welterweight. And you can make a case. A lot of people thought that he beat Kell Brook. A lot of people thought that, myself included, that he beat Keith Thurman. In that fight, I thought he actually beat Keith Thurman because I felt like he threw more punches. So I feel like Shawn Porter being the next fight for Crawford makes perfect sense. Now, whether this fight actually happens is remains to be seen. Maybe the PBC will just decide that they don't want Crawford and Porter to have a fight, so they'll just get Porter out of the mandatory situation. But in this particular instance, I'm actually looking forward to this particular fight because I want to see how Crawford does against Porter compared to his rivals. Obviously, Keith Thurman and Errol Spence, they both, and obviously Kell Brook, they all beat Porter, but it was a very contentious decision. You can make a case that like 1 or 2 of them fights could have gone in Porter's favour. So to see how Crawford does against Porter will be interesting. To see how he actually how he performs against Porter will be interesting. I think Porter's been in a hell of a lot more wars than Crawford has. Although they're the same age, I feel like Crawford is a lot more fresher than Porter is. You could also argue that Crawford has accomplished a lot more than Porter has, although Porter has accomplished a hell of a lot. Obviously, he became a 2-time welterweight champion in one of the most competitive weight classes in boxing. But Crawford has obviously unified the light welterweight division and has managed to get up to welterweight and win a title there as well. He's like he's a champion in 3 different weight classes. I just think Crawford will just outpoint Porter, but I think Porter's going to put it on him, and it's going to be an interesting fight, to say the least. Ironically, when Crawford was coming up, there was a fighter that he used to spar with a lot who had loads of praise for Crawford, and that was Timothy Bradley. Now, Timothy Bradley and Porter, to some extent, are kind of similar in terms of their style, because both of them have similar dimensions in that both Timothy Bradley and Porter are quite short for their weight class, so they have to be aggressive and get inside their fighters' reach. And both Timothy Bradley and Porter have had amazing success. Crawford obviously used to spar with Timothy Bradley a lot, and they had very good sparring sessions from what I heard. So if they were gonna fight each other, Crawford has fought a style that's very similar to Porter in the past. He's not fought him as in fought him in the boxing ring, but he's at least sparred against him. So I think this is going to be an interesting fight to see who's the best. Do I think Porter can beat Crawford? Absolutely. I mean, everyone that Porter has lost to, he's given an absolute war to. So I think he could definitely give Crawford a hell of a fight, and I think he can actually win against him. But I'll be interested to see what happens. This is just my initial thoughts. Obviously, if this fight gets signed and it does actually happen, then it'll be interesting to see who wins. I think at this point in time, my pick is though Crawford. I think Crawford is going to beat him, but I think Shawn Porter is going to give him a hell of a fight, and it's going to give him an absolute war. And there may be a lot of people that are going to say that Crawford is overrated after the fight because of how well Porter performs. But Porter's an elite welterweight. He gives everyone an absolute war. But yeah, that's my initial thoughts on this particular fight. Tell me what you think. Who do you think will win if they fight, and do you think the fight will even happen? Like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.